One more story I almost forgot, but it was talking about asking you questions that no one has any business or right to ask you. I still see my brother in the back screen watching me. All right, this is the Disney. I'm not going to get into the don't say bill. I dealt with or I discussed Ron Perlman's deranged response yesterday to Governor Ron DeSantis. I didn't know that it was not Ron Perlman's only deranged response. I went into his Twitter feed. It's a series of deranged responses to a variety of politicians. The one to Tom Cotton, if you can believe it, was even worse than his Twitter video to Ron DeSantis. Not going to get into that guy again. I think he's gotten as much attention as he deserves. He was in Fox News, wrote an article about his unhinged, deranged response in which he referred to Ron DeSantis as an effing Yahtzee and an effing pig. Okay. But Disney today, Tim Cass put out a story about this. And it's funny, you know, when the news hits, the people who are paying attention see it. I have only one commentary on this. Disney executive who is the mother of a transgender and pansexual child. First of all, her kids are between the ages of, I looked this up, 14 and 25. So I was thrown off by child because that sort of suggests maybe that the kids are not of an age where they can make certain decisions for themselves. Her children are between the ages of 14 and 25, and she has 5 of them, according to the interwebs. Says she wants at least half of all future characters to be LGBTQIA or racial minorities. Theme parks are now banned from saying hello, boys and girls. And this is in response to Governor Ron DeSantis's bill. But you got to read this. This was a video, by the way, that was, I won't play the whole thing. Is this it?
I'm here as a mother of 2 queer children, actually, one transgender child and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations. And I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us.
All right. I think we've had enough of that. Now, just to highlight a bit of the absurdity of the story is that Carrie Burke said at an all-hands meeting that she spoke as a mother. We heard that. Her comments came after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signing the Don't Say Gay bill into law. Nowhere in the bill does it say don't say gay, and the bill itself is not even specifically targeting homosexuals or any. It targets all discussion of sexual orientation, including heterosexuality, for kindergartners to grade 3. But I talked about that yesterday. Won't get back into it. But it's this. I want to get to the part. A Disney executive in charge of content vowed to up the ante on gender politics during an all-hands meeting, promising that at least half of the characters in its productions will be LGBTQIA or from racial minorities by the end of the year. I'll cut the article. That's all I really want to get to on that. I mean, people should understand, or at the very least appreciate, how is that going to be implemented? You know, I was analogizing it to the jab. You're applying for a job, and someone starts asking you questions that, in ordinary sane times, nobody would ever have the right to ask you. Have you had your flu shot? Have you had your tetanus shot? We have to compare it with communicable viruses, so the flu would be one. A condition of employment, it was never, except for certain specific fields, for certain, logical connected reasons. The idea that they get to ask you this question now, and that people think other people's medical status is their business, is it's unique. But you have this Disney exec, whomever she is, saying that we're now going to make sure that at least 50% of cast members are LGBTQIA and racial minorities. What does that mean exactly? Does that mean that they're going to ask someone their sexual orientation or gender identification in an interview? Does that mean people are going to elect that information? And if they elect that information, they're going to get preferential treatment over people who don't? If that's the case, what's going to prevent people from electing that information just to be considered fairly when applying for a job, when applying for a position? And if people are going to start doing it potentially solely to be considered for certain positions, what's next? Are they going to start testing? Are they going to start asking for evidence of one's sexual orientation, one's gender identity? Are they going to ask for physical proof? Are they going to ask for real-time proof? And the irony in all of this is that from the very beginning, on the one side of the political spectrum, Republicans or people who support the Florida bill, which has nothing to do with not saying gay, they're passing it off as an anti-grooming bill. And they're saying, you don't indoctrinate kindergartners to grade 3 on issues of sexual orientation, sexuality, period. Heterosexual or other. You don't do it, period, because they're kids, it's inappropriate, and it's for their parents to do. One side is calling it an anti-grooming bill, while the other side is branding it as a don't say gay bill. And one side is saying, what do you guys have against gays? And the other side saying, what do you guys have against not grooming children? Well, this actually now is pushing the discussion. Because if you're going to do what this Disney exec is announcing that she's going to do, which is ensure that 50% of the people, racial, ethnic minorities, I mean, I guess you can see that with your own eyes. You can identify that more easily. But sexual orientation and gender identity, you're going to ask people that? Or they're going to elect that information, knowing that if they elect that information, they're going to get preferential consideration for positions? And then if that's the case, there's going to be an incentive to maybe exaggerate, maybe lie about it so that you can just get considered equally for a position. And then what's next? Do you have to make proof of your sexual orientation or gender identity? Because if you do, and it's a very logical sequence of events to imagine, how do I really know that you're trans? How do I really know that you're gay, homosexual, bi, two-spirit? How do I really know? Show me. Prove it. Because you're getting there. You're getting there by simple deduction as to what is going to happen if people start to do the things that they're announcing that they're doing. And if Disney wants to implement this and go down that path, well, then it starts to look a lot like exactly what DeSantis is doing with that bill, which is to prevent grooming of any kind. You're saying, prove to me that you're trans. How do you do that? Prove to me that you're gay, that you're bisexual, that you're prove to me. How do you do that? I mean, Hollywood is a degenerate industry in the first place. So anybody who thinks that this suggestion, this realistic concern for where this goes, if they start implementing these invasive, highly personal policies, I'm not exaggerating. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. I think I'm actually being very realistic and illustrating exactly why these discussions are private, personal discussions. They're not business considerations or hiring qualifications. They should not be one way or the other. You shouldn't be given a job because, you should not be denied a job because. But now they're going to say, we're going to insist that a certain amount be of this way, which means that we're going to ask, we're going to expect honest answers, you're going to incentivize dishonest answers, and you're going to basically make necessary proof, verification, and with all of that. That's it. That is it.